Well, hey guys, good morning. So, still in quarantine, and I wanted to bring up a great topic. I'm putting out a post, this is just going to cover that a little bit. Always just trying to give you a good video tip at the end of every post I'm putting on. So, if you're seeing this on Instagram, head over to foodisfuelnyc.com/blog to read even more about this. Please, if you find any of this information helpful, please share, comment, like. I'd always really appreciate that, and give me some feedback. If you feel like there's something else that you hear about or something that we can even tweak more, I'd love to hear about that. So what we're talking about is this, and I've had this message for some time now, because this is a time of really, it's just a strange time. People are really challenged with the idea of maintaining what they currently were doing, whether that's kind of building muscle or losing weight or whatever. So maintenance, right? So there's a difference between maintaining kind of the path you were on before and maintaining what you've been able to achieve. Those are both really important things to understand. So you don't always need to be achieving a long-term goal right now, especially when you're dealing with the challenging situation, and maybe you just want to hold on to just a few goals, a few things that you've been able to achieve. So your muscle, right? So this is one thing. So we're talking about this right here, right? Maintaining your muscle. If you were building muscle before, well, your goal does not need to be continuing to build. You may just need to be maintaining it. And why would that be? Well, maybe you don't have access to the same workouts. You don't have access to the same weights, right? If you are looking to always progressively overload your muscle to continue to build muscle, well, that can be hard at home. So unless you really do, you kind of got ahead of this whole thing and you ordered all of your gym equipment and you have the space, you can do that. Myself, I've been able to, I had this great mutt bar from Rogue, and I also ordered a weight vest, and I had a few weights around here as well. But all of that's been able to help me a little bit progress, but only a little at a time, by like 2.5 pounds maybe each set that I'm actually trying to do. But a lot of people don't have access to that. So I'm getting this question a lot about how do I maintain my muscle, right? Okay, so maintaining muscle is something that is going to be a lot easier than building muscle. You just need to approach it from a really just with a good foundation of nutrition and just your lifestyle habits, okay? So if you're looking to maintain your muscle right now, what I really want you to do is try to put as much resistance as possible on that muscle. You don't need to be hitting PRs, you don't need to be lifting the heaviest weights possible, but what I want you to think about doing, I want you to make sure that you're just continuing to do something for that muscle. So if it's going to be body weight workouts, go ahead and do it, but just keep it moving. That's the best thing you can do right now, okay? So just, that's how I'm going to preface this whole thing. If you want to make sure that you're going to maintain your muscle, you have to use your muscle. It doesn't need to be PRs again though. So just push-ups, it can be pull-ups, it can be just dips, right? So I don't want to step into the training realm because that's not my specialty. I can always talk about it, but not my specialty, and we can always get you to turn to someone that can talk about it. But from a nutrition standpoint, what I want to do is I want you to really understand. I'm just going to look back at a lot of my notes here, because on this blog, I looked into just a few studies that can help you maintain your muscle throughout this time from just some nutrition strategies. So I want you to realize that what you want to do is make sure that you're not going to be under eating. That's going to be number one. Now, a lot of these studies we look at, some of these studies done by Wall and Loom, really great stuff back, even to 2013. I think we have 2016, 2017 study in there as well. But it's possible for us to make sure that we're going to be losing, or we're going to be seeing a decline in strength between 0.3% and 4.2% per day. You can do the math on by yourself, but it's easy for you to see yourself kind of dropping your strength maybe each time that you end up kind of missing a workout. So make sure that you're just maintaining that. Now, a lot of these studies too, what they're looking at is really older populations, and that's okay. So we're looking at older populations that may not be you, but it's an active population still because they're lifting. So while it's an older population, we're looking at people that might be affected by many different variables. So an older person may end up becoming bedridden for certain reasons. Maybe they're an illness or an injury, and when that happens, they may end up just losing their appetite. So they may end up just not eating enough. There's also other variables around an older population. Think about dentures, they can't chew as well. But regardless, we're looking at how to maintain muscle. And when someone starts having a challenge of misuse or disuse of muscle rather, because that injury or because that illness, and that can be used still, you can see a decline in strength. So keep making sure that you can stay as active as possible. But number two, I want to make sure that what you're looking at is not underfeeding yourself. So you have to understand how many calories you need. Now you can go based off of hunger if you want to, but if you've been someone who's already primed your brain to eat a certain way that's been at a deficit, you might not know that, well then it could be important to understand, well, how much do you need to eat? And what you can do, if you look on my blog, there's a great link here for a calculator at the Mayo Clinic that can help you understand how much energy you need. There are quick reference points about how many calories per pound, how many calories per kilogram, but what I want you to do is I want you to go to this calculator. You can even type it in or go to my blog, but you can type it in Mayo Clinic, and it's just it's calculator, it's energy needs calculator. But that can help you figure out how many calories you need and track your food 1-2 days just to see how many calories you're taking in. But when we start to see someone not using their muscles, right, a disuse of muscle, and they're under eating calories, that's where the wasting starts to come from. So the atrophy, so we don't want that happening. So make sure that you keep using your muscle and you don't under eat. That's going to be the most important thing. I'm not asking you to overeat, just don't under eat. Okay, now number three, which is kind of labeled here as a second line of defense. You'll see if you check out the blog. But the second line of defense, or the third line of defense here, is going to be making sure you just get enough protein. So regardless of anything you do, even if your calories have to be lower, even if you are not working out as much, I want to make sure that you're just getting enough protein. And what I'm going to push you guys to make sure you're doing is getting 0.8 to 1.1 grams of protein per pound. If you can take your weight, multiply it by 0.8 to 1.1 grams per pound, that's what you're going to understand. That's how much protein you need. You can get it from anything. You can get it from eggs, you can get it from beef, fish, chicken, tofu, edamame. You can get it from complementary proteins. If you want to think about things like your beans and rice, or your amaranth, or more plant-based kind of stuff, chia, quinoa, all that kind of stuff. That is what's going to help you get your protein. Now, it's hard to always hit your protein goal, so don't discount things like protein powders. Those can be perfectly fine. Check out my blog. I wrote more on protein there just for some recommendations on protein powders as well. But don't let your protein get too low. So check out, see how many calories you actually need per pound. And really, I think quickly it's going to be like 14, 15 calories per pound if you just want to quickly get a good quick hit on how many calories you need. But go check out a calculator from the Mayo Clinic. 0.8 to 1.1 grams of protein per pound. Continue lifting, that's going to work. Now, if you have those things down and you want to take a next step into maintaining your muscle mass, supplementation can help. And there's two things. One thing I do preach a lot, which is creatine. The benefit of creatine is huge. It goes beyond muscle, but we'll talk about that later. But maintaining your muscle by supplementing with creatine, getting about 3 to 5 grams per day, can help you maintain your muscle mass. Now, this isn't so much about the production of ATP and all that kind of stuff there. It's just making sure that you maintain your muscle mass, and creatine can help you do that, only if you've gotten the other things taken care of. But you want to make sure that creatine can definitely come in, or at least you have an open mind to it. The second thing is going to be something like fish oil. Getting about 4 grams of omega-3 fish oils, really omega-3 from marine sources, so fish sources from DHA and EPA, about 4 grams, which is more than a lot of pills give you. So you're going to either have to kind of up some of the pills that you're taking, or what I end up doing, I end up using actually a syringe. Sounds gross. I use a little syringe that I used for my daughter to give her medicine, but I actually take the oil, squirt it into my mouth, and that gives me 4 grams that way, and I get that a day. But that is what you can make sure you're doing. If you're looking to maintain muscle mass, there is a way to do it, even if you're not able to use your muscle as much. But quickly, number one, maintain as much resistance activity as possible. Don't think you have to hit PRs. Don't undereat. Check out a food calculator, understanding how much you need. Get enough protein, 0.8 to 1.1 grams per pound. Number 4 here, make sure that you can keep an open mind about creatine, 3 to 5 grams per day, and about 4 grams of something like fish oil, omega-3 from marine sources in particular, EPA and DHA. If you have questions, let me know. Please comment, like, share this, and we'll check on the other side, all right? You got this, guys. Take care.